Hey everyone, it's Types and 30th Celebration, the Pokemon TCG expansion celebrating the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, is right around the corner. And honestly, it's kind of cool. It is kind of bad, right? The cards are not very good, but there are some interesting ones. I'm going to be going over the five that I think are the most interesting today. I do want to mention these are the ones that are, I guess, quote, officially revealed. Honestly, I've been looking around at different places trying to figure out what's officially revealed, where things are. I've honestly had a hard time finding images, and it's just a big mess. But regardless, the celebration is actually pretty interesting because it's released in the same time internationally and in Japan, which is cool. And also, it is not like a regular set, so we don't have pre-releases for it. So, unfortunately, if you're looking forward to that, that is not something that we have because we get, the four main sets here is where we get the pre-releases. But regardless, I'm not going to be covering any of like the leaked cards, I guess. I think there's one or two that are somewhat interesting, and I'll talk about them once they get revealed or when the full set gets revealed at some point. Honestly, I was kind of hoping the full set would be revealed by now, but again, because of the way that the cards are being released internationally and in Japan at the same time, the release schedule for reveals is different. But regardless, the first card we have here to talk about is MewEX. MewEX is pretty interesting. I have this version. This is not the regular art. The regular art I couldn't really find, as you'll see with some of these images. I wasn't able to find super good images of all of the cards, unfortunately, including on like different sites that I use normally, like Pokemon Proxies and PokeBeach. I found some images that I was looking for, but didn't find all of them. But regardless, UBX here is a card that is really interesting with its ability Memory Helix. It does have an attack. It does a free retreat, which is worth mentioning. The attack isn't really useful. It can knock out Badoo, I guess. It also is a 2-prize EX, and it has 160 HP, and that's bad. Unfortunately, like it's very bad. It's I believe the lowest 2-prize Pokemon in Standard. I believe it's tied for that. Let me check on that. Pokemon with 160 HP in Standard. Will this work? Yeah. Uh, oh no, HP equals 160. Nope. There we go. I guess capitalization does matter there. Oh yes, we got Tatsugiri EX, the goat. Yeah, this card's also kind of terrible. It's so fun, but so bad. We've had some good 160 HP 2 prizers in the past, certainly, but in standard right now, we're not looking at anything super good. I do also want to mention I'm in a new setup, so hopefully things are okay with that, but we'll see. But regardless, BBX HP is bad. That is like one of its big limiting factors. Free Retreat is nice, but not super relevant here. It is Psychic. This means you can pair it with Telepathic Psychic Energy, which I think is super awesome, as well as Wondrous Patch. You could also chuck in Mysterious Garden in that conversation. I've been playing with all three of those in like a Psychic Box deck, and that is really nice. It's really interesting, but you have this really interesting ability. This Pokemon can use attacks of any of your bench Pokemon, but you need the energy. So also, this is an ability, so it's not the same as this Pokemon. It copies those attacks, doesn't have those attacks. If you get ability lock, that's bad. But regardless, you can use these bench Pokemon's attacks, and that's really interesting. I actually a while ago talked about this a bunch on a video with Uncommon Fossil. We talked just a ton about MewEX and thought of different ideas for it. It's interesting as a toolbox attacking Pokemon. We've seen cards like this in the past that do this similar thing. Some of them were good, but the ones that were good copied things more universally or had like better stats or something like that. So this Pokemon, when you're looking at it, obviously there's three different amounts of prizes your Pokemon can give up. This doesn't need to necessarily copy basic Pokemon. It does only your Pokemon, so you can't copy your opponents there. Though if you do have a Pokemon that copies your opponent's Pokemon, you could have UBX copy that Pokemon to copy their Pokemon. But obviously, if you already have that Pokemon in play, why don't you just attack with that Pokemon instead? That's a legitimate question, and most of the time the answer is you should just attack with that Pokemon. UEX here has 160 HP on a 2-prizer. Again, that's like tied for the lowest. It's going to be weak compared to most of the other attacking options you're using in terms of HP. It does give you weakness coverage. For example, against Dragapult EX, pairing with Lotus Clefairy EX, it gives you some options. And you don't use Psychic Energy, right? So if you're using this with, say, Mega Kangaskhan EX, you could copy Mega Kangaskhan EX's attack, play Lotus Clefairy EX on the bench, and one-shot Dragapult. And you don't need to be playing Psychic Energy to do that. How easy is that to do? It's not super easy. I mean, Kangaskhan EX's attack isn't super hard to power up, but not super easy either, right? So that idea isn't, like, amazing. And then you look at it, you probably don't want to copy two prizes. If you look at like Liz Clefairy EX itself, copying that's super bad because you just have less HP and you need another piece. So it's just not good. Technically, it gives you some versatility, but it's really not very good. Then you look at copying single prizes. This is interesting. You have more HP than some of them, like, for example, Badoo, and I think Badoo is one of the best options with this card. Um, Copy Badoo, and you can have a lot more HP. You're not a crazy tanky Pokemon, but when you're item locking, it is really, you have a lot of HP, which is nice there. So I think this with Badoo is actually pretty decent there. And then you compare this with those three prizes as well. You'll have a lot less HP compared to Mega Hanscon. You have about half the amount of HP, which is pretty rough there. That being said, you are still able to do, potentially that big damage and only give up two prizes. So that's cool. Is this card good? I mean, it's not that good. I'm not gonna lie. Some people hyped this up. I hyped it up a little as well because it's really cool. It's a really fun card. It kind of reminds me the most of Ditto from Pokemon Go / Crown Zenith here. This card copies a basic Pokemon in your discard without a rule box. It's a similar idea to the UEX here. Those Pokemon you could just attack with it normally anyways. This gives you some versatility somewhat, but you're not tanky or anything like that. So this card saw some play with apparently saw play with Cloth. I mean, you can copy like Badoo, copy Cloth as well. It doesn't really give you any other weakness here either, obviously, with it being colorless there. It gives you an extra attacking option. Can be used for some toolboxy stuff. It's mostly this tech card. It's a really fun card. But again, it's not like it's not super good. There are some use cases specifically with like United Wings, which we don't have with well, technically United Wings is standard, but the idea is it's copying through the discard and UEX copies from in play. UEX can copy non-basics, but you still need to get them into play. So it's interesting. I think it will see a little bit of play. I think it's again a really interesting card though, and really cool. Then we have the next card here, Alolan Exeggutor. This one, this is a promo version, but it's in the regular set as well. It's interesting, not really for its attack though, which does 150 for 4 and then heals 50 from itself. Getting energy on is kind of hard, but you do have Meganium to double it. As we'll see, that isn't the issue. Powering up the attack isn't the issue. Powering up the ability is. The ability says if this Pokemon has 6 or more grass energy attached, it gets 250 more HP. It's not cards. It is energy. So Meganium will work with this as well. And then if you have 3 basic grass energy attached, then you have Meganium play, then you have 400 HP. It's 400 HP without a tool on a single prize. So that's like absurdly tanky. Can't Wally's it, but that's fine. You are very tanky here. This card isn't very good, I don't think. I don't remember what the executes and executors are in standard. Okay, well, we got the Team Rockets ones, which don't count because they don't work with it. Yeah, there's an execute which accelerates to itself, which is like kind of sort of an option. There's also this Exeggutor. Now, this card is not very good. I think it was in a build and battle kit, but there's one that lets you evolve, which is like kind of cool. You can use this term going first, but obviously you're not getting a ton of energy on just yet. You have then only Exeggutor EX as well. This card is cool, technically allowing you to power up the single prize Exeggutor. Maybe that's part of the idea there. You have this like other weird attack as well. This card was played in a Regidraco, and it was honestly pretty cool. But regardless, the Alolan Exeggutor is interesting. I mean, ultimately, it's probably not super good, but it definitely. I mean, if you get the energy on, it's absurdly good, right? The attack is fine. The healing is fine. And then the HP is absurd, right? It's like the highest HP essentially ever. You can attach a tool on top of that if you want to. That would be presumably like Hero Escape. Hero Escape is not something I'd personally play, but I'm not super sure of the math off the top of my head. Could pair this with healing options as well, like Shuckle or Monkey Dory or something. And yeah, it's definitely an interesting card. Is it good? Probably not, but it's fun. Definitely something that I know some people love to try out, and definitely worth that. Speaking of healing cards, we have this Nidorina. This one, for some reason, I couldn't find a super high quality image. But this card here has the ability to share happiness. Once during your turn, you can use this ability to heal 30 from one of your Pokemon. This card heals 30, kind of like Shuckle, kind of like Monkey Dory. The big difference between those, obviously, Monkey Dory is a card that does damage as well, which is a big deal, and actually has more HP and has lower retreat and a better attack, realistically. But regardless, ignoring that stuff, which does matter, this doesn't require an energy, which is definitely worth something in a deck where you're struggling to get energies onto your board. Mikudori's biggest issue at times is you just can't really get it powered up. So Nidorina here is really it's really interesting. It's not, or it's like somewhat interesting. It's not super good, but there's like there's just the one that evolves into Nidoqueen. I think there's a cool Nidoqueen. Oh, in the next set, in well, the set's out in Japan, but in Delta Rain, this one like can gust, so you can have this like healing and this like point clip gust. Not the best, but you have something there. It's kind of fun. I think this card's okay. I don't think it's like super good or anything, but it's not terrible either. Repeated healing can be nice if you're building something like, say, Mega Warlord or something that could be cool. Sorry, not Mega Warlord. I always say that because it's super tanky. But Warlord EX, the previously mentioned Exeggutor or Alolan Exeggutor or whatever, and then just anything you want to be like tanky, but not like you're healing all the damage. If you're healing all the damage, healing extra 30 doesn't do anything. So Nidorina is definitely a cool card here, in my opinion, that it is worth looking into a little bit. Then we got the next card here. We got Lugia. Lugia is interesting as well. This one's actually super interesting for its attack. Elemental Blast, its only attack for Fire, Water, Lightning. You do 250. You discard those 3 energies there. And yeah, I mean, 250, quite simply, is a bunch of damage on a single prize basic Pokemon. I mean, it's just a bunch of damage in general, right? Let's be honest. It's a card that isn't broken or anything like that, because it's hard to power up, but honestly, it kind of reminds me of Rayquaza. It doesn't really make Rayquaza. It's different. I definitely think, I mean, this isn't about Mega Rayquaza this video, but Mega Rayquaza is definitely getting a bit overhyped at the moment, but Lugia is, I don't know how you power it up, but if you get powered up, it's pretty good, right? You do good damage quite simply. There's not really too much more to say other than that. In terms of getting it powered up, though, you could use like Energy Switch or something kind of like that. There are ways to get Fire Energy on your board with Ethan's Ho-Oh EX. There is Electric to accelerate to Lugia. The Water Energy, I can't think of a way to accelerate off the top of my head. There's going to move it, though. Ultimately, when you're looking at this card, it is a bunch of pieces. None of those are super good, I wouldn't say. You could just do this with like Crispin or something as well. Obviously, that works pretty well. Maybe. Oh, sorry, I didn't say this. I just remembered. I was to say you can use this in Terror Box. You have the tool Last Trumpet. There we go. This is interesting here a lot, and you could even like honestly splash this into a Mega Rayquaza deck if you want to. You just need to play some Water Energies. I don't know if Mega Rayquaza is ever playing Water Energies for like um for Wellspring. I don't think it really is, but you could do that. And honestly, I don't really hate that. And then chucking in one of these Lugias, I think it's okay. I mean, I don't think this card's super impressive. I don't think it's. I mean, honestly, in some ways, it is pretty impressive. Once it gets going, it is legitimately very good. It isn't very easy to get going, but it is an interesting card in my opinion. Obviously, you just look at the damage; it's very high, and that's it. So yeah, Lugia definitely a card to kind of keep an eye out for. One that could actually legitimately be good. Do I expect it to be good? Um, eh, no, not really. I don't actually expect any of these cards to actually be particularly strong. But it's interesting. It's definitely really interesting here. Then we have Greninja EX. For some reason I couldn't find a high quality image of this card. Not sure why, but I could not. Then anyway, or in English at least. But then we have the attack here, Stealthy Slash. This one's interesting. For one water, you do 30 to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each damage counter on that Pokemon. This means that you essentially quadruple the damage on a Pokemon. This is pretty interesting. Obviously, you need to get some damage counters on them, but if they're like already pretty much knocked out, there's not really any point in doing this. You need to get into very specific range, but you can get into that range, right? That is like possible to do, and if you do, then this card is interesting, and it pairs pretty well with Mega Ninja EX as well. It's not, or pairs decently with it. Mega Ninja is currently not super good. It's certainly, I guess playable is the word. Obviously, pairing it with Dragon Bolt's interesting. I do want to mention these cards are coming out before rotation, but uh, they're not, rotation is happening relatively soon after these cards. I don't know. It's definitely worth talking about them pre-rotation though. But Greninja EX I think is cool. The second deck 160 for 2, not super good. We have a Greninja EX in standard that does something better. The one from Masquerade. It hits a different weakness, which technically could be worse, could hit resistance, but this card does just the fighting one does more damage for less energy and searches for a card. So that's not amazing there, but Well, the fighting one's pretty good, but this one obviously in comparison isn't super good. I do want to mention a few other cards. So there are reprints of, I believe, Pokepad and Ultra Ball in the set. Not new regulation marks, but I'm pretty sure. But there are new arts of those, so that's cool. They are good, right? As well as I suppose Switch is certainly all right, probably better than the other cards in the set for the most part, but obviously not super a super good card to the level of Ultra Ball and or Pokepad there. But those are out, or those are going to be in the set, which is cool enough. And then we also see there is a Pikachu, which does damage based on Pikachu, and Pikachu EX is in play. Can be fun with the Air Zero Underdepths. I don't think it's really worth mentioning. I didn't include in this video, but it's not terrible to be honest. I mean, it's not that good, but it's not terrible. And then there's also I do want to quickly mention a couple of like leaked or spoiled cards. Again, I normally don't do this, but it's been like floating around, and sometimes the cards are like spoiled in a really like sketchy way, but that's not this. Um, these are well, I don't know too many details, but so Trusted Pilot made a video on it, and I glanced at the cards, and there is an interesting Igglybuff, which is cool. Honestly, a pretty fun card. Well, I don't know if it's exactly fun is the right word, but I think it's cool. And there's I think it's a Gengar EX, which is not a fun card, but both are okay. When I say okay, I do just mean okay. They're not exceptional or anything like that. They're all right cards. So definitely cards to kind of keep an eye out for. They're not released or revealed fully at the time of recording this, so that's why they're not here. But they are worth mentioning and keep an eye out for. I think all in all, the set will have, depending how you count it, as many as 10 good cards. Also, I didn't say this. I'm not counting like the reprints of the old, like not standard cards, like Pikachu and Zekrom or I don't remember what the cards are to be honest. Like base set Charizard and things, isn't it? I don't remember. But those cards aren't counted because they're not standard playable. How good would they be if they were in standard? I don't know. I mentioned this previously. I was kind of hoping they would be standard playable. I think that'd be pretty exciting, but that's not what Pokemon decided to do, and I'm not shocked by it by any means. Overall, though, the set certainly isn't super strong. In some ways, it's more collector's focused, which I get. Obviously, collecting is a big thing in the Pokemon TCG, and Pokemon, trying to separate it so that cards are still attainable for players while also being cool for collectors is nice. I'd rather not make all these cards like super terrible. They're not all super terrible, I suppose, but a lot aren't super interesting. Like the evolutions, unfortunately, they're not very good. I mean, the Umbreon is okay. Some of the EXs, I think, like is it Sylveon EX or maybe Espeon EX? They're like okay, but for the most part, these cards just aren't super impressive, which is the disappointing thing. But regardless, we'll see what actually ends up happening. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section on these cards. Also, huge shout outs to my YouTube members for supporting the channel. That really legitimately does mean a ton. And I do have some exciting content, hopefully in store soon. Obviously, we have this set coming up. There is like the World Championships and like the new season and some live stuff as well, potentially, that is really exciting. I don't exactly know what it is. But anyways, tell me your thoughts in the comment section. I hope y'all enjoyed, and as I'm excited, see you in the next video.